Garage Prospecting. I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Eunice, and guess who's with us tonight?
It's
Colter.
Colter.
It's Colter. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a light set up. Keep going.
You want me to take you off screen while you're working that out?
Yeah, just for a second.
All right. All right. So Colter will be back in just a minute once he gets. Whoops, I brought him back right away. All right. So Colter will be back in just a minute. And did we introduce ourselves?
I did.
Oh, okay. I'm Toby Eunice. She's Shelley Carney. I'm Toby Eunice.
Yeah,
We're with Garage Prospecting. And we have kind of a fun show tonight. We invited Colter back because for the first time, I used his wash plant to run some of his pay dirt, some of the pay dirt I got from him through the wash plant. And I'm going to show you first. I'm going to start with this picture. I'm going to show you the result. Okay. This was the end result. So that's what was collected. Now, I had planned to put it under the microscope tonight, but we ran out of time. Basically, I was doing this afternoon, and we ran out of time. But that's the gold that we got out of the pay dirt using the cleanup sluice that I got from Colter. So his pay dirt, his cleanup sluice, my making messes, and I made a video of it. And kind of the plan tonight is to share that video with you all and Colter so he can comment on it in real time about what mistakes I made. Now, if I could show you the gold in a small container, small glass container, you would see that although it looks really good in that shot that I gave you in the pan, by the time I finished panning it out, I didn't lose any gold, but I did make a mess. So the final product had a lot of hematite in it. It even had some quartz in it. So I did a really bad job of panning. And that's because I haven't handled a pan since 10 years now. So it was the last time I handled it. So I need to clean that up. I also made some mistakes during the process. So I probably have to run the tailings again. And you'll see in the video, and we'll have Colter comment on that. Let's see. So let's see if, so Colter, that's your gold there. Are you ready? All right. Let's bring Colter back in. All right. There he is. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, doing well. Scrambling, trying to find a light, but
don't worry. You look great. You look fine. You look fine right now, the way you are.
Okay.
And we can hear you fine as well. So you should tell your family, look on Garage Prospecting, and they can watch you on their TV.
Yeah.
As if they don't see you enough already. And don't feel bad. None of my children watch anything that we do.
No.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So they don't care. It's just me being annoying as far as they're concerned. So you heard part of the story. How much did you hear of what I was saying?
Oh, I heard it all. It sounds like you had some success and some failures and some concerns and
yeah. I'm gonna play it on the success side, but not a 100% success. I'm gonna say it's an 85% success. I got to the point where I produced gold out of the pay dirt that I got from you, and but as I got down to the nitty gritty of panning it out completely, and I don't know why I didn't stop when I had that picture, but I couldn't get a lot of the larger hematite and some quartz out of it, no matter how hard I tried. So after I cooked it, there was just some stuff in there. And once I poured it out, lots of gold, but lots of junk in it. So I've got to repan it, I guess is the best way to do it. So you'll hear, I had a video that explained how I put my wash plant together, but I'm going to put that up again some other time. So what I'm going to show you now, and you'll be able to comment while we're watching it, is the video of where I started processing the pay dirt that I got from you. All right. And you're welcome to comment as we go along. And I would appreciate if you see me doing something completely wrong, tell me that I'm doing something completely wrong so I don't continue to make these mistakes again and again. Okay. All right.
Hey, wait.
What?
Scroll.
Oh, okay. Hang on. I got to add it. Let's go. I also have to do my pitch here. So give me a second. All right, guys, we would appreciate it if you, before you leave tonight, you like our video. YouTube likes it when you like our video. Share it with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your business associates, and the entirety of your social network so that we can grow the channel. Finally, if you are not already a subscriber, this would be the ideal time to subscribe. And when you see that notifications bell, click on the notifications bell. And that way, every time we start a live stream, you'll be immediately informed. And as a result, in the know. Because there is nothing better in life, ladies and gentlemen, than being in the know. And then, of course, if you're watching this video after
You
we've,
didn't even do that before yet.
I didn't do the what?
Super chat light.
Oh, okay. There we go.
There you go.
The super chat light is lit. So if you feel like making a contribution to our little project here, go down to the bottom of the chat window. You'll see a dollar sign, a stylized dollars or a dollar bill. Click on that dollar bill, and the good folks at YouTube will walk you through the process of donating to our project. So,
And if you watch after the fact, there's a dollar sign with a heart.
no, it's a
around
heart.
it
It's a heart and a dollar sign and a heart.
called Super Thanks, and you can click on that and make a donation as well.
And also, we appreciate you commenting in the chat room tonight. And also, if you have any opinions on the matter of me processing the way that I processed what I did with the wash plant, please feel free to make those comments, whether you're watching tonight in the chat room or you're watching this video after the live stream. There's that comment section below the description, and please feel free to comment. We know that there's people that watch these videos that know way more about this than I do, and I want to learn from you all so they can get progressively better. Mary Green says, howdy, guys. How are you doing tonight, Mary Green? We appreciate you being here. She, we got a lot of geode pictures for her at the Mineral Museum yesterday, and you should have seen the gold that they had. They had some really interesting gold. They had some gold that was like threads, like a bird had tried to make a nest out of threads. They had a chunk of gold about the size of a fist. I mean, they had every possible variety, and it's all New Mexico gold, so it was here at some time. All right, so here's the deal. We're going to play the video that I made this afternoon. I actually edited it about 20 minutes ago, and we're going to have Colter comment on what I'm doing. And if we can comment while it's going, but if you want to stop, and because this is his sluice, and I'm sure that he wants me to use it correctly, so that if you decide to purchase it, you can use it correctly, because he's going to be able to watch me make mistakes. All right, that's kind of the plan. All right, I'm back. As you can see, it's not quite filled with water. I'm going to say the water goes up to, let me measure it just to make sure. So it's about 5 inches deep. So it isn't, I know, less than half full. I haven't filled this up, and I've got to make sure that I've got enough water returning so that the pump is correctly fed. And I'm going to try it out. Let's see what happens here. Oh, I'm going to turn on our LED light. Give us a little bit better look. So I'll start at low levels of voltage. Center that up. I think we'll move this just a little bit further back. So I'm not sure, so I'm nowhere near, let's see, I'm at 7.21 volts. Let me turn it up and see. So this goes up to 12 volts. Watch this, Colter. Yeah, it starts overflowing pretty good at 12 volts. I mean, that's the overflow, and that's 9 volts. That starts a little bit of a spillover. Thankfully, that polyurethane should just let it drain down. So right now, I've got it at 6.9 volts. So it looks like 9 to 7 volts is about the right voltage for this. Now, I don't know if you recall, but Colter set this up so that it was already at the correct angle for the sluice. all you have to do is bolt it into something flat. I'm getting it. Is that a leak?
I thought it was a leak.
I've got some more water. Let me pour some of this water out. Looks
Hey,
it's
Sparky,
got
what are you
under
up
the
to?
sluice. So, oh, I see. I've got a slight drip from the hose back here, so I'll have to make sure that's even tighter. I won't do that now because I would be.
So I put a hose clamp where the hose connects to the sluice, and I didn't want to tighten it too much for fear of breaking it, but it looks like it could tolerate just a little bit tighter because it was leaking out the back and it was catching on that's what all the leaks, you'll see it as it goes on, but that's an easy fix.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, what's a wash plant without a little bit of leak?
Yeah, leakage. Yeah,
I mean,
and it's
it's
at
not
the
bad.
hose. It's at the hose, so it's not like it's leaking from as it's down the
Yeah.
plant.
Embarrassed to break anything with this up front like that. Okay, so I'm going to take another break.
This is going to go on for
I'm
a
going
while,
to
Brian.
prep
Oops.
this, and well, prep is just kind of adding water to it. Oh, I guess we could try out the spigot. No, let's not push it. So let's add a little water so we're not going in there dry and dirty. Although it is a little bit dirty. Okay, I've got to go get a spoon.
No comment.
No
So-
comment, you.
Do I have anything here? No. I'm going to go get a spoon. I'll be right back.
That Sluice will actually accept dry material the way that it's set up. So, you notice that there's that divider there.
Yeah.
And the water goes under it.
Underneath it.
Yeah. So that ensures that the dry material has a chance to fully absorb the water and sink down to the bottom and then flow out. But most people swear by running the material wet, and you
Yeah.
might as well run it wet if you can.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. No, it's whatever you prefer. But originally, I designed these things to work with the auger
Mhm.
that I've got. There used to be a little clip on the side of the sluice that you could put the dry auger, and you could just pour the material in the auger and then feed it in, and the auger worked dry. So it was actually designed to work with a consistent stream of dry material. But most people just wanted this setup, so that's what I changed the design to.
Mhm.
But works both ways. Just a comment.
So as you're looking at the water flow right now, and what did you call the divider? I didn't know what to call it.
Yeah, divider's good. Yeah.
Okay. So this area here was not quite filled up to the top. Not, it was about, I'd call this section around 3/4 full. Is that about right?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter as long as it's not empty
Yeah, right.
or overflowing.
Overflowing. It started overflowing at around 8
Yeah.
volts. I didn't even have to use anywhere near the 12 volts.
Yeah, now the 12 volt would be if your pump is, let's say, 10, if you had a 10-foot long bilge pump hose,
Right. Yeah.
and you needed to get that extra
That pressure.
pressure,
Yeah.
that's where that extra voltage comes in. But when it comes in at this little 2 foot long hose, you don't need much.
Yeah.
For that.
By the way, I have an idea for you for what I'd call a bilge pump stand, a 3D printed. I'll send you a drawing. So it's basically 3 legs on which you can put. It's about an inch above the bottom, and then
That's
you can
cool.
put your pump in there, and it keeps it above the silt. So we'll talk about it later.
Okay,
I had the idea while I was. All right, let's go back to playing this. So at some point, guys, I speeded this up. So this was just me putting the dirt in the sluice.
Mary, I suppose you could use spring clamps, but you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to brush out the bubbles.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you forgot to pop all the bubbles in that.
Yeah.
That mat is notorious for getting little bubbles in those little holes, and if the bubbles are there, then it doesn't absorb the gold as well.
There's so this is Culture. This is from Kevin Carney. This is from Shelley's husband.
Okay, is the 3D print? If so, just PLA? Yeah, PLA plus. The stuff I use is
The other thing I forgot was to add a couple of
Hang on,
drops of jet dry in there.
So I'm sorry. Go ahead with your answer.
Yeah, I use the PLA plus from, I believe, eSun. Just get it off Amazon. It's about 25 bucks a roll. Sometimes I buy it directly from the vendor. I can get it about 15 bucks a roll.
Yeah, he's an engineering guy too, and he took up 3D printing about what, 2-3 years ago.
Something like that.
It's been a while. So yeah, he
But we
knows
just have the one machine.
how to work it. Yeah, we don't have.
Wow.
He doesn't have 20
Wow,
machines.
so-
Like, how many machines do you have now?
Well, I just got another one in this last week, so I think that makes me up to 26 machines.
Wow.
And I've got machines running in multiple locations now. I've recruited family and friends because I run out of power at my house. So I'm constantly driving around, picking up parts for this adventure.
Kevin says thank you.
Yeah.
He also reminded me that he started 3D printing when I was going through my car phase. I was doing toy car restorations, and I needed his help to produce things that I'd break.
Yeah,
So-
I'm thinking about getting a 3D scanner, and that'll allow me to make, little organic car shape, feature trim for cars, replacements for things that you can't get nowadays.
That's what he was doing. That's exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, that's a great application. Also, stuff organic shape, for like if you wanted to make handles for like a pistol, you could just, grab a piece of Play-Doh and then scan it with the 3D scanner and then use that file to make your grips and things.
I'm really surprised. Well, not surprised about how strong for something that's 3D printed this is. I mean, it's heavy duty.
Yeah, and that's only 3 layers.
Yeah.
If you look at the sidewalls, that's only 3 layers of material, and that's been working out pretty well.
So for those of you that saw the mistake that I made, the first mistake that I made, these dream mats, as you start your water running down the sluice, there's places there's pockets in them where eventually you want your material to end up, your heavies. And as you turn on your water, it makes bubbles in each of those little spaces. So you have to brush them out. And I forgot to do that. The other thing that I forgot to do was add a surfactant to keep the gold from floating onto the water. So that's what I'm doing. And I did it. I actually have a small bottle of this, but I couldn't find it. That's of course, jet dry. And I should have done both of those things, brush out the bubbles and the jet dry before I started the run. So what I'm going to have to do eventually is I'm going to have to go back through those tailings, what was dumped into that white bucket, and rerun them to see if I let some gold by.
Now,
So,
did you run this stuff through the separator, the magnetic separator as well, or did you just go?
This is the same material that you saw me run through the magnetic separator last week.
Minus the magnetite?
Minus the magnetite. There was
Okay.
hematite, but there was no magnetite in.
Yeah, I was wondering why I didn't see any black sand in that.
Yeah.
Sluice.
Right. Well, you'll see a little bit towards the end. Maybe you can see it, but that would be the hematite rather than the magnetite.
Yes. Yeah. But if you were to not run it through there, this thing would be black.
Yeah. Oh, that just when I weighed it, I reduced the weight from 16 ounces to 11 ounces. So there was 5 and 7/8 ounces worth of magnetite after running it through the, so I'm going to do that with everything from now on.
Yeah. Well,
Go ahead.
oh, I was curious what the volume was of that. If you had.
Well, when I don't know if I can calculate the volume, only by weight. So when I weighed the bag of pay dirt that you sent me, it weighed 16 ounces. When I weighed it after removing the magnetite, it weighed 11 ounces. So I removed by weight 5 ounces worth of magnetite, and I put it in a container. Is there any good to saving magnetite? I don't know. I put it in a container just because I thought someday I may need this, but yes, no.
Well, I would put everything back together and dry it out, put everything back in the pay dirt bag and write, Colter Young, a sample and put it, have
Yeah.
a library
No.
of all my
Yeah.
of all the samples. That's what I do when I buy pay dirt. I've got, one from CGC prospecting, one from Vendetta, one from
Yeah.
Flash Guitar, and I just put it all back. I actually put the gold in the vial and then dried everything else out, put it back in the bag, and then drop the vial in and fill the bag up and put it on in my shelf. I've just got a collection of pay dirt.
Oh, you put the gold back in?
I put it in a vial.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Drop the vial in there.
Yeah.
And then when my friends come over or something, it's kind of a show and tell thing. I try to keep as much of my gold as I can. I it's going up in value. So it was, when I got into this, $1,600 an ounce. Now it's, $2,000 an ounce. So I mean, you spent so much time collecting it, you might as well savor it.
Well, I have plans for it. I
Yeah.
do have plans for it eventually once I can figure out how to get it completely clean. So, all right, let's play this again. I guess what I'm going to have to do eventually is repan the tailings to make sure I didn't miss anything. My bad. So I told you guys that I was a complete amateur at this stuff, so I'm learning as I go along. I think this thing right here, this puddle that.
Hey, as long as it goes back into the original tub, you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
If it leaks out onto the floor, then eventually you're going to run out of water in your recirculation system. But
well, like I said, I didn't show the video about the wash plant, but I added a spigot to the base of the wash plant so that I can use that to provide additional water, or I can use it when I cleaned it out that way. I just attached a hose and sent the hose.
Knock it into the.
No, I saw that. I like that. That was a neat little addition. Wait till everything settles out and just drain the water.
Yeah. So I speeded this up so that we didn't have to. Overfox says adding jet dry is huge. That little gold likes to float. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. It also keeps the water clearer too. It makes the clay particles
settle.
Yeah. You want to be careful when you do that because you're really altering the flow of water.
I noticed that.
Yeah,
I couldn't figure out a good way to do this. I had to keep washing the bottom out because the lesson that I've learned in conversations with you is, you can't leave anything behind.
Right.
Yeah,
you want to get like a spray bottle, like a squirt bottle.
Oh, you know what? I have some. I actually, now that makes sense. That's why they're there.
I know a guy with a ketchup bottle, and
he just squeezes it out.
Yeah, he just squeezes it in there, and that way you're
it's
just
obvious I got to improve my
little stream
skills when it comes to that part of it. I'll lift this up.
I don't know about doing that.
Let's let it run for just a sec.
and I'm going to go get. So what do you think? What are you thinking on that? So I was just pouring off the drip from the hose.
Yeah, but you're really increasing. I mean, your gold might fall out of your mat when you do
Oh,
that.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, who cares
'Cause I'm
about the
increasing
water?
speed.
You got that gold right there. You don't want to
Yeah.
pour that down into the tailings.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, like I said, I'm planning to run those tailings again just because
yeah.
of the bubbles and the jet
Yeah,
dry.
you might have not lost anything, but I mean, if there was anything on the verge of coming loose, that would be when it would come down. That, when you lift up the mat like that and give it, a 20-degree angle, and also when you add in, twice the amount of water like you did with the jar.
Yeah.
Now, these are just comments from me.
Yeah.
Maybe, fine, maybe not, but
No, I'm taking this. The reason you're here is to help me learn
yeah,
about how to use this equipment that you've produced for a very
yeah,
specific reason and know exactly what to expect from them. So,
yeah. You got to think of the stuff that was in that bag. It came from, uh, let's see, a gram. So it came from, over 20 or 30, maybe 40 buckets worth of raw material that got concentrated down into one tiny little bag. So if you're on the job site and you got 99 guys all working their ass off, and you got the one guy cleaning up, and he's just he's tipping up the sluice and and being reckless, it will concern them
yeah.
quite a bit. But since it's just an experiment, you can rerun your stuff. Hey, no harm, no foul. You're just playing right now. But yeah, I would try to keep that thing stationary. I wouldn't tip it up like that.
Okay.
And then I would try to keep that water as consistent as possible.
Okay.
The times when you're dumping the beaker in there might not be obvious, but you increase the volume flow rate, almost to double there for a second.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
I
some of
noticed
that
that.
and some of that gold, if it's flat, it's kind of like a parachute,
Mhm.
that's very sensitive to flowing water, and it'll catch on that flowing water, and it'll just tumble out of there, just without even, you won't even notice it going.
Yeah.
So if it's round gold, if it's round ball gold, like stuff you find in like northern Alaska where it's like a rock, yeah, it won't be fine. It'll be fine. It'll just stick there. But if you've got stuff that's been pounded flat, like the stuff you got there from the Idaho batch,
Mhm.
you probably lost some. And I mean, heck, you got to do it again.
Yeah.
You're
No,
gonna
no,
have
no.
twice as much fun.
That's kind of how I feel about it. It's not hurting anything if each time I do
No,
this, I get a little bit more gold, you know?
no. But the least of your concern is the little bit of water that gets there, unless it's getting all over your carpet or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of annoying. But the main focus is that thing is going to be at a very steady state
Okay.
during the entire operation.
All right. I'll remember
So,
that.
yeah, those are just my comments. I mean,
That's why you're here. That's why I invited you on. So Brian says he finds this very educational, learning from Toby's mistakes. Thanks, Toby.
Right.
You're welcome, Brian. Glad I'm making all these mistakes so you guys can learn from them. Silver, I'll answer this when we're finished with the video, Silver Fox, so we can get through this. And because I do want to give an answer. Or a camera that we can get a close up of what's in there. I'll let it run. So we use these smartphones in our other on our other channel, New Mexico Day Trips, because they're small and easy and they produce great video. But it does have a close-up feature. Let's see if it can pick any of this up.
Is that the iPhone?
Yeah, iPhone 14.
I've heard
we-
good things about that
Kind of
camera.
worried that
It,
not
it,
having put, not
it
having
is
washed
so
out the
good for
bubbles,
us on our travel channel.
and
It
not
just
having
makes-
added Jed Try is going to create a set of problems I hadn't expected.
I should have cut some of this out, but I was in a rush. I was literally editing this 20 minutes before this started. So
Okay, so what you're going to see next is footage from my smartphone that's going to, I'm just going to drag
here, watch
down
this, Colter.
over the top of the sluice.
Oh, wow.
Let me see if I can get a full frame there.
I can see gold in there.
Oh yeah, yeah, you can see it.
It'd be
I don't know, what do you
interesting if
guys
you
think?
could get a polarized lens
I can see some
clamp
black
over that
sand,
to help
and that would
get
be
through the water.
hematite,
Actually, I have one.
because I took
I
out
have a case that
hoping
will hold
most
a
of the
polarizing lens, which I have.
magnetite.
We'll do it next
It'd
time.
be-
What
yeah,
I
it'd be
did notice,
interesting.
So I've
so
got to
this
put my
was moving
faith in
from
this,
top to bottom,
dream mat.
and if
so
you look at it,
What you're
a
going to see
lot of the
next
gold
is
was at the
footage
top,
from my smartphone.
and you
that's
didn't
gonna-
see
I'm
much
just
at the
gonna
bottom,
drag
which I
down,
thought was a good thing. Either that or I
over the
spilled it
top
all
of the
out.
sluice.
Well, the length of the mat gives
See if I
you,
can get
you
a
can
full
run it longer.
frame there.
So the little holes get plugged up, and then the gold won't fit in there, and then it'll move down to the next one. So guys like a long mat, if they want to
What do you
run,
guys
2,
think?
3 hours at a time without
Yeah.
I can
cleaning
see
up.
some black sand, and that would be hematite.
And I couldn't see this from
because I
my
took out-
angle. I couldn't see the gold. It just
Hoping most of the magnetite. So I've got to put my faith in this dream mat because, what you just saw was basically the first time in years, and even back then it was not a lot of experience that I've run anything through a sluice. And I've got to trust that this dream mat that comes with Mining Magnets Cleanup Sluice does what it's supposed to. So we'll see. I guess we got to clean it out now.
So let me answer this. So, Silver, in the case of this cleanup sluice that Colter designed, he designed the correct angle into it. So once it's on a level plane, it's at the correct angle. So when you take one of his field sluices, for example, as a matter of fact, he has a field sluice. What's the field sluice called?
It's called the frontier sluice.
The frontier sluice. And what he did on the frontier sluice is he has a couple of bubble levels, and he set the bubble level so that it was centered at, again, the correct angle. So Colter thinks about this stuff and puts it in because he's spending as much time as anybody doing that himself. So he takes out that problem with this particular sluice, the cleanup sluice. The angle, I don't know what degree is the 7 degree is built into the sluice. So all you have to do is sit on a flat plane, and the angle is correct.
Another thing too is that the angle finder is awesome to have out on the field, but what happens is that you have to bring one extra thing, and you have to forget. There's a chance you forget one thing, and then there's a chance that you can't set up properly without that one thing if you forget it at home. So if you have an angle finder and you have it in your prospecting bag, that's awesome because you can always change that angle 8 or 9 degrees depending on the material you're running. But it's just sometimes hard to run without one if you rely completely on one.
Right.
So that's kind of the point of my bubble levels that I put in my sluices, and why this is set for 0 or for set up for a good already built-in angle. But yeah, that's kind of the best accurate, or a phone app, that works good too. A lot of guys will use their phone app in a pinch because that's it's a pretty dang good handy tool, and I mean almost everybody has their phone. You know?
So I was thinking about developing a little phone app that enabled you to, you know, how they say 1 inch per foot of sluice, and everybody guesses at it. But I think it's actually a mathematical calculation. So I was thinking about developing an app that basically has put in the length of your sluice, and I can give you the degrees that it should be in order for it to be working properly. And I can do the app. I can't do what you do, but I could
like the
write the app.
cosine of 1/4 or whatever.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
relatively straightforward calculation.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a algebraic.
No,
It might be
trigonometry.
it's trigonometry actually, but it's you could do it in an app. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what apps are perfect for, is
yeah,
those
yeah.
kinds of things, you know.
And then as Kevin suggested, you've got the inclinometer inside your phone. So you've got the
Mhm.
app, the inclinometer, and with any luck, you won't drop your phone in the stream.
Right. Well, I mean, nowadays most of the phones are waterproof.
They're
Really?
water
Well,
resistant, I think is how they, yeah.
yeah. I mean, but I mean, it sure beats the old days when you had to stick it in a bucket of rice for a week, or the fridge or whatever, when you washed it in your
If you
back
did,
pocket of your pants.
if you did actually get to work. Okay, so here I'm about to clean out my sluice. So just
Okay.
I need you to tell
This
me
is the best part.
how bad it was.
You better get the popcorn.
All right.
I'm gonna have to get some suggestions on your studio lighting. I like the lighting you have there.
It's Harbor Freight Special. It's their LED bar light. It's like a 48-inch bar light, and it's right on top, but it's great. So, like I said, I'm going to have to run the tailings. I won't do that, you know, today because I want to see what Colter thinks about everything that we've done here,
Right.
because he is going to be on our show tonight.
Have you
gonna show
have
him
you thought
this.
about seasoning your pan?
You know what? Again, that was another one of these mistakes. I had 3 of these pans in this size. It's the 8-inch size, I think.
Mhm.
And I have 2 of them seasoned. I grabbed the one that wasn't.
Yeah,
Which is-
it stands out like a sore
Yeah,
thumb if that
yeah.
thing isn't seasoned. It's just
Yeah,
so shiny.
It's shiny. It's still
Yeah.
shiny. So
Yeah, and a good way to season it. I don't know,
Video.
you know how most people do it, but I'll just put dirt in there and just, you know, rub my hand around, and the dirt in there does a great job of.
I think there's an old codger gold prospector on YouTube. I think it's called Two Toes, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what he does. He just takes it down to
yeah.
a sandbar and throws a bunch of
Yeah.
junk in it, just rubs it around until it's
Yeah,
until it's got
Two
some
Toes.
texture.
Yeah, Two Toes is a great resource.
By the way, I got your pan today.
Oh, good.
It looks great, and you don't have to season it, right? It's got texture in it.
No,
already.
it's already ready to go.
Yeah. Yep.
Yo.
Yeah. I don't know, guys. I think I see some gold. And the thing that worries me is I'm very shaky, so I always have a fear of just shaking everything off.
You're making me nervous.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to make sure I hadn't left any dirt in there.
No, you're doing fine.
Did that scare you there?
Well, that does. You might want to fill that pan up with water and then take the mat, flip it upside down into the pan,
Well, watch what I'm doing.
and then do that step that you just did. But I mean, whatever.
So I was surprised how little material it collected. Now that could be my fault from.
That's what it's supposed to do. Remember when I told you it does like a thimble full that you got to pan at the end?
Yeah.
That's what I meant, is that saves you from panning all that other stuff.
Right.
Well, looks like it comes out pretty clean.
Mhm. sort of satisfying to do that part.
I found it very rewarding, actually, not only getting through the process with as little, as few mistakes as I made, but,
Right.
or as many mistakes as I made, but still having something at the end to show for it. I
Right.
was very happy. I mean,
And that was quite effortless, by the way.
no, I agree with you wholeheartedly. This was absolutely painless. Shelley came over to get ready for
Okay,
a show.
let's see what we got here. So I got in the pan. I didn't spill anything, but I noticed there's some stuff up here. I'm just going to brush it down into the water. Now, the last time I did any panning was back in 2013, when I took my grandsons out on the Galisteo Basin and found a couple of wash that wasn't on private land, that was on a tribal land, and we just panned in the wash. I brought water with us, and I just showed them how. But that, I don't know that I knew any better then. So let's see what we got here.
This would be where it would be really nice to have that polarized lens.
Lean back from it. Go ahead now.
This would be where it would be really nice to have that polarized lens.
All right.
You see the glare on the water there.
Yeah.
All right, well, I don't know whether it's good news or bad news that the
black sand was
black
coming
sands, I
right up.
guess that means the cleanup sluice did its job when you have that much black sand coming out right away.
You might want to add some jet dry too.
Yeah. That water
Add a lot
I poured from the spigot of the wash plant.
Right.
So
But
it had.
But the reason I said that is you can see.
So this is what
floating.
surprised me. I don't know if I'm going to stop it here for a sec. That stuff at the top,
That's gold.
that's gold.
Yeah.
I thought
did
at
it.
first, well, there's not supposed to be any white sand in here. That should have been washed off, right? And then I realized, oh no, that's gold.
We did get some gold.
Okay, it gets painful from this point on as I try to pretend like I know what I'm doing. I'm going to show you a picture of the end result here.
You gotta point the pan. You gotta point the pan down, and you gotta hold it by your belly button. So you're holding it with your left hand on the left side. You need to hold it by where your belly button is.
Oh, okay. And then tap it.
Pile you see up there.
There's a lot of gold in there, though.
That was the best point.
gold,
It got
I would
worse from
say.
here because I started screwing around with it, and I had that nice little pile. If I had snuffed that up right there,
Yep.
I wouldn't have had to spend another hour doing what you see me doing right here, trying to get it back together.
Well, for all the mistakes that I made, if that sluice captured this much,
Gosh, you didn't lose any. It looks like.
I don't know.
it's a pretty darn.
I'd have to
Okay.
say I probably lost a little.
I don't
Again,
want to
this
lose
is
any of this.
I spent
So I'm
a
just gonna
good
suck
I don't know half
everything
hour,
up
45 minutes doing this. So
Snuffer bottle and
let me see if I can get us through this here a little bit faster.
uh,
So that's what you see. Another.
concentrates. So all of this in a snuffer bottle, and then on the scale so that we can weigh it.
Yeah,
But
that
I
was
do
that
wanna
was
take
a dream.
picture of it so you guys can see it tonight.
Getting it on a scale because
So,
what finally ended
Colter,
up was it would have
So
cheated the weight
again,
by it.
This is, let me get that bag so you guys can see it.
It looks nice in that black pan, though.
So that's mining magnets bag of, ignore this is me making construction notes, Idaho dredge concentrates. So I think it was $65, but we'll ask Colter tonight.
No.
I think 60.
60.
And for the guys that buy it off with your promotional
I don't know,
code,
I'm just gonna have to stare at
it's
this for a while,
54
okay?
or
So,
something.
let's see if I can get this closer for you.
And I'm selling it for like 55 bucks,
right.
and the price
What I'm
of
going to
gold
do
right
now
now
is
is
I'm going to turn the
$70.
overhead
So
camera
Yeah.
off, and I'll run
pretty good deal.
a close-up camera over this, and I'll add it to the video.
So
Thanks for watching, guys. Who knows if I lost any in the tailings, because I didn't clean out the bubbles in the Dream Mat. I think I kept calling it Magic Mat. It's Dream Mat. And I didn't add any jet dry until I'd put a couple of spoonfuls through. But yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, that
got
is
a
so
close-up for you.
Toby Renee, man. But
I
yeah,
think she got it from you.
yeah, I think so.
So
All
you want
right.
to show this picture again?
Yeah.
right.
So here's, oops, let me turn
I'm
that
back.
off, remove that. Here's the close up of the end result. So
Nice.
it was a nice little. It had chunky stuff. It had there's flour in it down here. There's some flour gold, but
Yeah.
that was the majority of it. And if I had stopped there, I could have weighed that and I could have given you something, but I kept screwing with it, and it just got progressively worse. So it's got to go back through the pan again. I might put it through the spiral sluice and see what happens. It's a
Yeah, you
small enough
should.
slope.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, just play around with it. Just don't lose it. But, you know, you'll lose a little every time you process it. But it is for, you know, in reality, you know, it's what you do with your time. And are you
Yeah.
having fun with it? Are you having a
Well, oh, that's what I was going to tell you. So Shelly came over, you know, about an hour before we were going to do the show, maybe a little bit before that. And I told her what I had been doing. And I said, I was kind of worried that this would be like a 3-day worth of processing and shooting, editing and shooting and editing and things like that. It's a 3/4 of an afternoon processing, and then getting the video from it, and editing it into a reasonable video that you can put on YouTube. So, so that's 1 day a week. That's a Sunday afternoon, you know?
Yeah.
So let's answer some of these questions if we can. Oh, Kevin said the phone app. Let's see if I got, so Silver Fox agreed. Actually, cell phones have an angle finder, the level app. Just wonderful how Colton addresses it. Good to know. Yeah. He thinks of everything. You got to see his frontier sluice. I'm thinking we're not ready to go out in the field yet, but I'm thinking about it. Slick pan is no bueno. Yeah, it can have residual petroleum from the plastics too. Yeah, I didn't even wash this one. That was the one that I didn't wash or prep. So it was the worst one to pick up. You know who says no bueno is what's those two miners? Freddie Dodge. He's got his partner Juan, and Juan's Hispanic. And every once in a while, Freddie tries to speak Spanish, and Juan will show him something, and Freddie will say, "No bueno." That's about the extent of his Spanish. So here, I'll do this twice for Silver Fox. He says, "Does anybody belong to the GPAA? Are you a member?"
I believe I'm a lifetime member. I had the
Sit back. Sit back to your.
LVMA
You have the what?
membership that came with the GPAA membership. So my login still works.
Oh. I was thinking
I-
about getting it. I got the $5 join and see what's going on subscription, but I was thinking about getting it. But there aren't a lot of places here in New Mexico, and I was looking at the reviews of the ones that were. It's all dry prospecting, and the reviews weren't very good. A lot of work for very little in return. So I want to address this. You don't know what it's about, but okay.
One thing that it is nice about the GPAA is that you don't have to worry about being on somebody else's claim. You know,
Yeah,
it's you could camp there, you could be there, and if you run into somebody there,
yeah.
they're very friendly. You know,
Right.
They're all members. They're out there doing what you're doing. So that is a perk that I don't think they emphasize much about the GPAA, is that, you know, every time I've ever been out on a GPAA claim, you know, it's awesome. You know, if you're out on somebody somewhere else and you're unsure, you're kind of always looking over your shoulder, like, you know, am I really allowed to be here? You know, but when you're on the GPAA claim up, you know, people almost run up and give you a hug. You know,
Yeah.
it's a lot more of a family that you're getting into. There's the Facebook GPAA group that, a lot of guys are posting. If you look at One Day Off Prospecting, he's just started posting a lot of videos, and he's doing real good. He's writing reviews, and he's writing for their magazine. But you'll run into guys like that, weekend warrior type guys. You just show up and sit around the campfire, and it's not all about finding the gold. It's about the community. So
There is a Albuquerque gold prospectors group. I can't remember what it's called. And I went to a couple of their meetings, and it was right before COVID hit. And so they shut it down, and I noticed they're starting to schedule their meetings again. So I may go back there because they know the area. They have lots of claims within 45, I think, miles of here, including some that effectively are a half hour away from me over the Sandias to get to the San Pedro Mountains. So Silver, the frog-shaped gold nugget, like Shelley's, is not actually a nugget. It's actually a piece of jewelry that somebody formed. And we found it by looking for one. I wanted to, of course, get one similar to the gold frog that was in the treasure chest. But it was way before we did this, 2-3 years ago. When did we get the gold frog?
Yeah, not like that. But I think we'd be willing to sell it for the right price.
That's not an Indian giving. I bought that for you.
I said we.
Oh, okay. All right. And so at that time, we had no idea when Fenn was going to sell us, or when the treasure chest would be, not Fenn, but when the finder, the recoverer, was going to sell anything. So I started looking for one, and I found one. It is not as old. It is gold. And
I think it's solid gold, though.
Right. And I decided to buy it outright. So it is formed. It's not a nugget. So I know the one that sold at auction sold for like $28,000.
Comments at the bottom.
Let's see what we got. Panda Bueno, GBA. What's this one? So I have the GBA claim in Hillsboro and one on Highway 64 on the way to Heron Lake. Wow. Found some little flakes at both. So, silver. Hillsboro is a very popular place for, I didn't know there was gold there. I know it's a very popular place for rock hounds. They go up there and find all kinds of minerals. And I've discovered kind of that where there are minerals, there's sooner or later you're going to find a little bit of gold, And I don't know whether you guys heard me say this before. My father used to say, you can find gold in any river in New Mexico. You
don't know whether they heard you the 10 times you said it already?
I don't know.
Okay.
It was my father. I can quote my father.
10 times.
And you often meet other friendly prospectors there. Yeah, I'll probably join. It's not expensive. It's a couple $100 a year.
And I think that there's some options for a lifetime membership that is way better than the subscription membership. So
what was the other one you mentioned? The LD something?
MA. Yeah. So the LDMA is a Lost Dutchman's Mining Association, and they've got basically fully functioning campgrounds with hot showers and RV hookups, and they've got, I think about 5 or 10 of them here in the United States. They've got two in Oregon, kind of by where I live, Burt River, Oregon. And then there's one Blue Bucket Hill Road, and then they've got one in Arizona, Prescott, Arizona. And all around those LDMA campsites. So there's GPAA claims. So for every LDMA campsite, there'll be, 3 or 4, if not 10 GPAA sites. So not only are you allowed to dig on the LDMA properties, which are really good for gold, but you've got the GPAA sites. So if you get an LDMA membership, the GPAA membership comes free.
Oh, I see.
And so that's how I got my GPAA membership. I did the LDMA option. So what's nice is, you'll roll up, like especially this property in Arizona. They the Prescott, Arizona one. I believe that's the actual name of it. But you show up and there's just all these RVs there, and and they got 3 or 4 buildings, maybe 5 buildings. One's kind of like a library, one's kind of a mess hall where they have
Wow.
community events. They've got the 2 shower buildings, the bathrooms. They got the host building, and you go in there. They've got pay dirt for sale if you don't want to go dig. That comes from the locations. They've got a big tractor, and then like 2 or 3 times a year they got these big outings where people from all over the country come, and they all team up and they just dig, in these common digs. And it's yeah, it is. Well, yeah, it is pretty pricey, but you don't actually have to get the membership to do any of this stuff. If you want to go to the LDMA sites, you can just pay $15 a night
Oh,
and camp there. So, before I joined, I would just show up, here's $30, and me and my son would take our tent, or, if we had an RV, we would have pulled that along, but we just set up our tent, and we'd hang out all weekend and just shoot the breeze with all the members.
hmm.
Take advantage of everything. Now, they don't let you dig on the LDMA property if you're not a member, but if you make friends with your neighbor next door and say, "Hey, can I come with you tomorrow?"
Yeah.
He's allowed to bring a
Right.
guest. But since they've got all the GPAA claims around there, what we
You can
would do
stay
is
there and then
yeah,
prospect on the GPA claims.
exactly. We'd rent a truck or a pickup truck or something. We drive in to the LDMA camp. We hang out all night, nice, cozy, comfortable, setup, and then we'd get in the vehicle, drive 2 or 3 miles down the road, and we'd be just having a blast. Work until we didn't want to do that anymore. Come back, have dinner. Take a shower, take a nap, and do it all over again. So there are a lot of options. Yeah, definitely. Take advantage of the guest passes because I really thought that was a great deal, not having to pay. I mean, if you're a member, they let you stay for like, $5 or $10 a night, but the membership fee is like $40 a month,
Right.
so there is that kind of trade-off. Most people that are members, they've already paid off their membership fees and they're just retired. And what they are is they're like snowbirds, they
Mhm.
have their RV and they'll go to the Arizona one in the winter, and then they'll go to the Idaho or the Oregon one where it's cooler in the summertime, and
Wow.
they'll just take a loop all around, the country,
Snowbirds.
and and they're just, they all know each other. They all got this, they all come back to the same spot every year.
How far is Prescott from your mom's house?
It's a couple hours.
Is it?
Yeah.
I recommend going there. Me and my son, we go there at least once a year, around November, Thanksgiving time. We really like the weather there. Bright blue skies. We're coming from Idaho, so it's a gray sky.
Mhm.
For 6 months a year, and so we get to Arizona, blue skies. I got my dogs. They jump out, and I mean they're just running around, having a blast. And there's some really cool history at the one in Prescott. They've got some mines just right there. You can see them. I mean, literally just look up the hill. You can see them. You can hike to them. They've got this place right there called the Potato Patch that people like to metal detect, and they're finding gold nuggets the size of potatoes.
Oh, I've actually heard of that. I've heard
Um,
of the potato patch.
so it's a I mean, for if you want to really get involved, you can show up, and so a lot of the members will have 4-wheelers or ATVs or side by sides that you can just hop on, and they'll take you around, and they've already got their tools. I even see some guys with the little spiral wheel thing like you're talking
Yeah.
about, Kobe, and they just do it dry. They'll just take the dry material and put it in there, and they'll take that little cup home and they'll pan that little
Pan
cup
that
out
out. Yeah.
at the end of the night. I mean, so there's a lot of a lot of learning to do, and getting involved in one of those communities like that. It's it's a good starting point.
Well, we're working our way slowly towards that. I mean, I like what we're doing now. Uh, you know, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for me. I can't tell you how excited I was when I saw that gold sitting up there, and my first reaction is, "What the hell is? Oh my God, that's gold!" You know, I'm going like, "How
It
cool is
worked.
that?"
It did work.
So I still have another bag from you, and I have that other bag that I bought from Eskimo. I can't pronounce it.
Meskimo or something.
Yeah, Miskimo.
Meskimo.
So we'll do that one next week, and then we'll do your second bag. In that time, hopefully, I'll have figured out how to actually pan out so I can put the gold. I want to put the gold in a vial, not a glass. Well, it is glass, but it's shaped like a teardrop. That's what they call it, teardrop. Because I used to do that with the sand. If somebody sent me some sand from some far off beach, I'd put it in the vial and send it back to them. So I'd send it, the size of the vial, not all the sand. All right, sir. Well, thank you for the additional help. I really appreciate you taking the time. I feel like I'm getting custom advice from the guy that designs this stuff. But I'll draw something up and send it to you. I was thinking about it today. If you had, just something at the bottom of the pump that's lets the holes there, has 3 legs, and that way it stays off the bottom and you don't have to worry about anything to protect it or stuff like that. So,
No,
and I'm not good enough. Maybe maybe I should tell Kevin about it because he has a 3D printer, and then we can send you the design. See,
send me one and I'll do a review on it.
okay, yeah, no, we'll sell it to you. We'll give it to you, and you can sell it for us, and we'll take a little cut. By the way, if you want to buy any of Colter's equipment, go to miningmagnets.com. It's all in the. You'll see it all down in the crawl. And he offers a 10% coupon for using. It's we're going by right now. So if you're a veteran, you get a 15% discount. And if you're not a veteran but want a discount, use the coupon Garage, and you get a 10% discount. So I've taken advantage of both of those. That's what
I strongly suggest doing that, because right now I'm selling the gold for $60 a gram. In those bags. It's currently valued at $70 a gram. If you take the extra 10 or 15% off, that's a screaming deal.
So can I
go ahead?
Can I expect to find a gram? Should I end up with a gram of gold?
Yep.
If I haven't thrown it away.
Yeah.
You know what I did? You remember when we were talking about the separator, and I told you there was all kinds of material. I swept up my workbench, the floor. I actually have an extra container of your pay dirt in another container that is all sweep from the sweepings.
Yeah.
It's literally the sweepings that I'm going to run eventually. So,
well, as long as you don't do any like soldering or drilling in there, it's fairly easy to pan out.
Yeah.
In my garage where I use my soldering iron a lot, I'll get like little chunks of silver and lead particles that I sweep up.
Yeah.
And it's like I get down to the concentrates, and it's silver, lead, and gold, and I'm like, man, I don't want to separate this stuff. Like, I just put it in a little vial, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
Well, I'm very excited that your cleanup sluice worked exactly as you promised in your advertising. It did everything it was supposed to do. If there was any gold lost, it was something that I did and not your cleanup sluice. It worked beautifully.
I'm surprised that when you tipped it up like that,
it didn't pour out all the gold.
Yeah.
I actually, I don't know if I saved it, but I took a picture of the tailings container, and I was going to send you a note. Said this, I got to go through this again.
Yeah, you might as well.
Yeah, I mean, it goes really, really quickly. You may as well, and if you can get another part of that gram back, the part for me is the panning. I've got to get better at the panning, and that'll just take some time.
Now you got something to practice with.
Yeah. So, All right, sir. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Now you should get back to your family. We've kept you late again, but we really appreciate the time that you put into helping us get better at this, and we'll continue to promote your products. So far, I've used 2 of your products: the dry electromagnetic separator, and now the cleanup sluice. I just got your pan today. I did make a video on it, an unboxing video that I'll put up later. And it looks great, and it may even help me become a better panner because it's got that.
I think you should try panning it out with
Yeah,
that
in there. And it seems to me that because of the texture that it has on it. Oh, by the way, I was going to ask you, what mesh is the classifier that you send with it?
I think that's a 2 millimeter hole opening.
Is that 10?
I don't know what the math turns out to be on that. It'd be probably more like between 12 and 20.
All right, I'll measure it. So I have a better idea when so I can tell people what I'm doing. All right.
Yeah.
Again, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. I promise. Well, first of all, anytime you want to come on the show and talk about one of your new products or what you're doing, please feel free to let us know. We'll bring you on. You can talk about the product. And then as we evolve and I get some more pay dirt from you, I'll let you know how things go, and you can tell me what I'm doing bad and good. I will get that. I'll make it a point to get that polarizing lens, polarizing filter on it so that we can get through the water.
Yeah. You'd be one of the first people to actually take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Because I see a lot of panning videos that's like, what am I looking at here?
Right.
You know, and you just cut right through that. I've got around it by putting an LED light down in the pan, and then having the light behind me dimmer,
right?
So that it does that. But you know, that takes a lot of effort. So, but yeah, and I think too, you know, since I got family that lives in Albuquerque, you know, I might be, in person, you know, probably more likely than not, you know. So we'll do some videos. Hopefully it's some of those.
Well, let's go. I want you to come here and take us out in the field with you so we can learn from your field work.
I want to go to the places that your dad said that anywhere you can go. Where did your dad grow up? Or where were you driving? Let's go there.
He was from Santa Fe, and so he was a fisherman, right? His love was fly fishing, but he always had a pan, actually it was a metal pan in the back of his car. And so every once in a while he'd come home and he'd have a nugget. And to this day, I don't know, but yeah. And to this day, I know where to go if I want to catch fish, because I went with him all those places. But he used to tell, they would tease him, you know, there's our gold prospector. That's our gold prospector. And he would tell stories. Then he'd start telling stories. But I heard him say more than once. I'm not going to repeat it because Shelley's heard it a dozen times now. But he used to tell people.
Every time you tell me that, I'm like, we're going fishing. Wherever your dad's been fishing there.
Well, I know there's
dry creek on the way over. We'll stop at.
I'll tell you what, we do a lot on the Pecos, and one of the areas that we go up to was along Willow Creek, along the Pecos, and that came down from a gold mine. As a matter of fact, a couple of years ago, they had to close the Pecos fishery because the arsenic had been leaching out of the gold mining tailings and stuff like that, and it was getting into the river. And we couldn't, you couldn't go fishing for, I think it was close to 3 years before they got it back up. But we used to go up there. We didn't know any better, and he'd say, "Look, there's some gold there," and we'd reach down and it'd be a piece of pyrite like that, you know. But pyrite, if you can find pyrite, you can find gold.
The sulfides definitely run with the gold. So.
Yep. So, all right, sir. Again, thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Hey, absolutely. Thanks again for having me.
Our pleasure. You take care.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye now. All right, guys. It is always a pleasure to have Colter on with us because he is so knowledgeable, and he is so free about sharing his knowledge with other people. Go to his website, see the tools that he manufactures, because he not only manufactures them, he uses them himself. He's a real fan of prospecting, And you can just tell it by the work that he does and how he does it and what he produces. And everything that I've tried so far, well, I've only tried the two things. I've tried the dry electromagnetic separator, and I've tried this this cleanup sluice. They work like he said, even though, you know, I make a lot of mistakes. It's going to come with time as I get progressively better with these things. But even with my mistakes, you produce the results. I say they're, you know, in my case, they're not 100% results. They're 70 to 85% results just because of my mistakes. But that's part of the process of learning this, and I'm looking forward to learning all of this so that you guys can learn from us and have fun with it. What else? What do we got going next week?
I don't know. We're going to a museum.
So
We might go out on Sunday if it's good weather. I don't know.
yeah, so Saturday we're going out. New Mexico Day Trips is going to the Maxwell Museum of Anthropology on the UNM campus. It's a fine anthropology museum. And then Sunday we're thinking of, it's supposed to be warmish. I don't know if it's changed recently. We had snow this afternoon, but it's supposed to be warmish. And if it is, we're going to go out and do some, I guess I'll call it pay dirt hunting. Going to some place where we collect some pay dirt and bring it back with us and process that pay dirt. Now, I do have 2 other bags that I've yet to process. One is another of Colter's material. And as you can see, it's a very high ROI material. And another is one that I bought from him. And it is by, I forgot her name, Miss Miskimo. I say her. I don't know if it's a her. It says Miskimo, so I'm assuming it is. And I'm trying to remember. I think it's from Alaska. So we'll run that next week. So next week's show will be that product. You'll see it when you see the thumbnail, what we're doing. Okay. What else?
That's all we have. If you are missing out on all the updates that we're sending out by email, make sure that you get on our email list. And that's at news.agkmedia.studio.
Right.
I don't know if we
I don't
have
think I have it in
here
there.
or
I
not,
don't, but I should
that's
put it
okay.
on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We sent, Shelley does an amazing job of putting together our email. It goes out on every Tuesday morning, and it tells you what's coming up in the week in terms of programming, but what are the things that we're doing, and always has helpful articles that we read and we share with you. So if you get on the newsletter, news@agkmedia.studio, get on the list.
News.agkmedia.studio
Right.
to get on the list.
Yeah.
And also, we do have our equipment list up on our Amazon store so that you can find everything that we use if you're interested in just, getting it all in one place. And we get a small commission from Amazon, and you don't pay any extras. So if there's anything that you're looking for prospecting wise, you can go check that out. Otherwise, go to miningmagnets.com for any equipment that Colter
And
produces.
everything that when I decided to take off on this particular phase, as we refer to it, everything I bought came from Amazon, except for the equipment that I bought from Colter. So
that's where you can find it.
all right, guys.
That's all we have for tonight. We thank you for being here, and we will see you again next time.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Hope you guys had fun.